Good afternoon from St. Augustine, Florida.
Sam's here! Yay!
Sam is here. You might remember Sam from a previous vlog where we went to Halloween Horror Nights. You are our Halloween Horror Nights correspondent. Sam, are you our Ponce de Leon correspondent?
Well, yeah.
Speaking of Ponce de Leon, he's right behind you.
Yay,
right here.
Wow.
Look at him.
He's got nice blue eyes.
Does he?
He does.
Oh yeah, he does.
He does.
Anyway, we are here for the Fountain of Youth. To be youthful for the new year. Actually, we were at Mardi Gras and there was a lot of big pirate themed things going on, so we decided to venture out and do some piratey things. And somehow we landed on this at St. Augustine. So, if you're ready to go be youthful with us,
let's go.
Wow! How incredible! Here we are heading into the world famous Fountain of Youth. Right beyond these doors. Old pictures of the Fountain of Youth. There we have it. Directly on the other side of the Fountain of Youth, some exhibits. And there's your fountain, the Fountain of Youth, right here at the bottom. And up above here you see the banners and the years, 2400 BC. Ancestors of the Timucuan begin making pottery. You see Juan Ponce de Leon, Pedro Menendez de Aviles, Sir Francis Drake, and Friar Antonio de Escobedo. There it is, the Fountain of Youth.
All right, I'm ready. Gotta fill it up. Gotta be youthful. All right, that's enough. All right, ready?
How is it? Do you feel younger?
No. Tastes like water.
What you drink is actually probably was rain when Abraham Lincoln was president. It takes about 200 years to seep to the ground.
Wow.
We're not holy today, we've been drinking in about 200 years.
Wow.
Wow.
That's something.
That's crazy.
Pretty cool. The Fountain of Youth. Ugh. And that's something, right? There you go. The Fountain of Youth. We made it to the Fountain of Youth.
You gonna try it, Sam?
Yes.
All right, go for it.
And as you exit the Fountain of Youth, you're greeted. Well, actually, it's as you exit. You get this nice little photo op.
I feel like it should be the other way around.
Yeah, right? So, Sam, Jen, how would you describe the Fountain of Youth water?
Not youthful. Dusty.
Dusty?
Dusty. Rock water.
Rock water?
Yes, tastes like it came from a very old rock. We should have drank out of rock. Like a rock cup. A rock cup. Oh, I want one. It tasted the way Pirates of the Caribbean smells.
Good
That's
point.
Good, yeah.
So if you could imagine Pirates of the Caribbean water and how it smells, it's probably how it tastes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nasty.
Yeah.
And just outside the Fountain of Youth is the Fountain of Pooch for your little dog to rehydrate. We have procured a map of the whole scenic grounds. And you can see they got a lot of stuff here. Spanish Watchtower, a blacksmith exhibit.
Planetarium's first.
Planetarium.
I'm excited for that.
That's kind of cool. Here we are at the planetarium, and inside, some neat artifacts.
It lights up.
This is the life aboard a Spanish galleon. Oh, it's interactive.
just lights up.
So the buttons that you push light up the areas on the Spanish galleon. So that's the gun deck right here.
Quarter galley.
The quarter galley.
Or lope deck.
Or lope deck.
Or
That's the
lock.
sail room.
Something.
What's down there? The cargo holds.
Forecastle.
Oh, that, yep.
Great captain's cabin.
Captain's cabin's up there.
I thought it would be bigger.
That's kind of cool though.
Yeah.
So if you're ever wondering what it's like aboard a Spanish galleon, there you go. And it says here, called a nail by the Spanish, this was the type of ship we believe Ponce de Leon used in his search for the Fountain of Youth. It does say we cannot be sure because no record has been found which names or describes the type of ship he used. But this is kind of what we assume Ponce de Leon sailed over here in search of the Fountain of Youth. And it looks like there's rocks at the bottom. I guess that's intentional to keep the ship buoyant. Odd. This is pretty cool. It's a bar shot that they put inside of a cannon, and when fired, the projectile would spin end over end with its main purpose to tear into sails and the rigging, making the enemy ship basically incapable of maneuvering. Wow. And we have another fountain. It's not the Fountain of Youth though.
I don't want to drink that water.
Even though it's got a baby on it, this water does not look very appetizing. Check out that peacock right there. They're just roaming free.
They're so pretty.
So what kind of bird is that? The white
The
one?
albino one. They're white, yeah.
It's an albino one?
Yeah.
That's a thing?
Yeah.
Really? Albino peacocks?
Yeah,
I mean, it's right in front of me.
What more do you need to know?
Anyway, I'm distracted by the albino peacock. It says right here that the large clay jars placed around the grounds are early Spanish water urns called tinajones. They were placed under the eaves of houses to catch rainwater and were buried halfway underground to keep the water cool. So they were basically like water tanks. The tinajones in the park vary in size, but all are made of fire-baked clay, with the largest weighing around half a ton and over 300 years old. Wow. So essentially this was a old-fashioned water tank. So this is pretty cool. This place marks the site of an ancient Indian village called Seloy in the 16th century. Archaeologists believe after making excavations on the ground that Indians had lived on this site for centuries before Ponce de Leon landed in this vicinity in 1513. So this is the original mission church of St. Augustine. It even says the settlers of St. Augustine moved twice before finally settling at the town's present-day location south of the plaza in 1572. Interesting. And it says here, Franciscan friars arrived in 1573 and later established the first mission of Nombre de Dios, now recognized as the first Catholic mission established in the continental United States. This mission was located here on the Fountain of Youth grounds just behind the Living History Village exhibit. Lost in time for hundreds of years, the site of the mission church of Nombre de Dios was lost to time until 1934 when a gardener planting trees discovered a number of human burials. Wow.
This place has to be haunted.
So, okay, so this is not the actual church. I think this is in the correct spot, but it does say this replica of the mission was built using historically correct methods of construction wherever possible. Interesting.
But still up to code. Up to building
well,
code.
yeah. Because I'm sure they get hurricanes through here.
Yeah.
This is quite a vast open exhibit. So if you like to do some exhibits out in the open in a socially distant manner, this is not a bad place to check out here in St. Augustine. Plenty of space. One of the cool exhibits here at the Fountain of Youth is the archaeological excavations that have occurred over the past few decades. Many of them focus on uncovering the details of the Spanish settlers from 1565. It's pretty neat. It says the white lines on the map below indicate the many carefully mapped test pits. So you got all these little test pits here. This is out here. So like that is the church we were just at right here. So it kind of gives you perspective. And then here's the water, which is out right over here. So it kind of gives you an idea that this whole area is pretty much, or what used to be, an archaeological excavation site. This is kind of neat. It says the Menendez settlement field, rebuilding the past. So this picture that you see here is what's in front of us. This says the original settlement of St. Augustine comes back to life. September 8th, 1565, Pedro Menendez de Aviles founded the fledgling settlement of St. Augustine here in the field before you, establishing what was to become the oldest continuously inhabited European settlement in the U.S. And then there it is right there, the building of St. Augustine, Florida. Don Pedro Menendez de Aviles laying out the Spanish city of St. Augustine in 1565. So we've made our way into what looks like a replica of an Indian village. And this right here, this big domed structure, is the Timucuan home, which is an enclosed family home. It says there was a lot of these and it wasn't uncommon to see this. Or a whole village of these dome homes. It's pretty neat.
Looks pretty cozy in there.
Yeah. It says the circular shape of the building helped make the structure very resistant to wind, up to a Category 2 hurricane. On the inside, definitely pretty cozy.
Looks comfy. Like, I don't know. I could do it.
It's missing a roof though, Jen.
Yeah.
I think it needs a roof.
Yeah.
But yeah,
gotta work on that part.
This is kind of what it looked like. Interesting, it actually says archaeologists recognize Native American structures by the stains left in the ground from the wooden posts. As wood decays, it leaves dark black organic stain in the soil, which is typically a golden orange color. Huh. And it says archaeologists also find remnants of the central hearth from scorched earth and animal bones left over from cooking meals. Wow. So this is the inside of a fully enclosed one.
That's cool.
Pretty cool.
It feels warmer.
It feels warmer in there?
Yeah, because there's no wind.
I guess you're right.
Yeah.
There's the little fire pit. So yeah, there you go. This is what it looked like in the homestead of the Timucuan tribe. So this is a test of the block and tackle, like a pulley system. They're all 60 pounds.
I'm weak.
But based off the pulley system, you're able to lift 60 pounds a little bit easier. A 1-to-1 ratio, which means it's literally pulling 60 pounds.
Come on. Okay, oh, wow, sir. Wow.
This one is supposed to cut the weight in half, so 30, because it's got multiple pulleys.
Okay. That one, I don't like that one.
And then that one is 4-to-1, so that one's supposed to be, what is that, 15 pounds, based on the multiple pulleys.
So it's
That's how they lifted a lot of things.
Try it.
Let's see. This is how they lifted a lot. Oh, so much easier. But they got a knot.
Oh, you
but
can't
this
go.
is significantly lighter. It's the same amount of pounds, but due to a pulley and block and tackle system, they're able to make it easy. Yeah, it says, did you notice that the block and tackle system using the most rope requires the least amount of strength?
Yeah.
Cool.
That was fun. I like that.
So it says right here on this plaque that this is the site of the first Fort San Juan de Pinos, built by Pedro Menendez de Aviles. That name keeps popping up multiple times here. It said it was destroyed 21 years later by Sir Francis Drake in 1586. Just outside the cannon firing demonstration, there's this plaque which was dedicated by the National Guard Association of Florida back in 2015. And it says the first muster of militiamen in the continental United States occurred on this very site on September 16th, 1565. A lot of history here. And it says here, cannon firing in progress. Visitors to the cannon demonstration area do so at their own risk. If you have sensitive ears, please cover them or protective equipment until the demonstration is over. And that's the cannon right there. Looks like right here they've got a bunch of old cannons that were salvaged from treasure hunters from the Florida Keys in 1950 from the shallow waters on the coast of Florida, founded from shipwrecks. Pretty neat. Artillery of this era, the 17th and 18th century, are rated by the weight of the projectile cannonball they fire. The cannons on display here range from 6 pounds on the far right to 18 pounds on the far left.
If you look on either side of me, you're going to see these rusted out old iron barrels. These are what you would describe as muzzle-loading cannons. But that means it's simple. When you load this weapon, everything gets loaded through the front. Now the first thing that's going to go down the tube is a bag of powder, then your wadding, finally your cannonball. And the whole thing gets rammed to the rear. Now at the back of those barrels, at the very top, would have been a little hole. It's called a touch hole. You fill that up with a priming powder, you hit it with a match, you have a nice big boom. Now reloading, it's going to take you 90 seconds to 2 minutes. It's the same process, just add one extra step. Everybody see this stick with the sponge on it? Between every shot, you're going to take this sponge, soak it in a bucket of water, then you're going to swap your barrel out. Guys, the last thing you want to do is take a fresh bag of powder, shove it down an iron tube with red hot burning embers in the back of it. Okay? You're going to do that just once. The 3 cannons that we have mounted on these tabby pedestals are Spanish 9-pounders. Used to call them long 9s. And from an elevated fortified position, they could take a 9-pound cannonball and shoot it to their maximum range of 2 miles. And it is the top military technology of the 17th and 18th centuries. Now, the cannon we're demonstrating for you today, not so much. Folks, that is called a 6-pound breech-charge muzzle-loading bombardetta. And guess what? Technology for that cannon, it's out of the 15th century. So there's a lot of differences between that gun and these guns. But one of the major differences is this. It's how you load it. If you look next to the gun carriage, you can see an iron container with 2 rings on it standing upright. That is called the powder mug or the servidor. When you load our cannon, that's where your charging powder and your wadding's going into. Alright, so follow me on this. You take your charging powder, you dump it in the servidor, the wadding goes on top. You pack it in nice and tight. Pick it up, it only weighs 65 pounds, drop it into an open breech. Take a piece of wood known as the breech block, drop it behind the servidor, roll the cannonball down the barrel, prime it and fire. Simple. See, each one of those cannons would have had 4 servidors assigned to it. So every time the weapon is fired, the expended servidor is removed and a fresh one is slapped in its place. That means a well-trained crew of 5 could achieve and sustain a rate of fire of 2 to sometimes 3 rounds a minute. Would you like for me to demonstrate for you the capabilities of this 6-pound iron cannonball?
Oh yeah.
All right, brace yourselves. It's going to be like the most exciting part of your entire weekend, even more exciting than a wedding reception. Yeah, that's about it. They, guys, they don't blow up. All right, there's no fragmentation to them. We don't get exploding ordnance to the mid-18th century. It's literally a solid iron shot. It's flying through the air looking to punch a hole in something. Now, in September of 1565, when the Captain General of the Ocean Seas, Don Pedro Menendez de Aviles, I'm a fan, by the way, I think Pedro Menendez is awesome. He's going to found our little seaside village on this field. This is where St. Augustine was born, right here. And when that event takes place, as Craig alluded to at the beginning of this, these cannons are obsolete. Nobody's using them anymore. But Pedro Menendez is going to purchase 20 of these cannons, and he brings them over here during the expedition. Now, the landings are going to start very early on September 6th, and they're going to be continued all the way to the late evening of September 10th. And during that operation, these cannons are brought ashore. Now, once they get here, what does he actually do with them? And in anticipation of an attack by the French out of Fort Caroline, Pedro Menendez is going to place these guns on the beach behind me to cover the bay and the inlet. And in 1565, guys, this is beach. You can sit, stand right where you are now, look over a wide open bay across a very barren and desolate Anastasia Island. And you know something? Turned out to be a really smart move. But Pedro Menendez, when he arrived here, instantly realized we do not have to worry about large ships making it into the bay. And that's because of the inlet. In 1565, that inlet's nothing like we have today. Today, it's a straight shot out to the Atlantic. Back then, it ran from south to north in front of where the lighthouse is. Okay, we call it the salt run. At low tide, a sandbar blocked the entrance to it, and at high tide, it's only 9.5 foot deep. There's no way of large boats making it in. So if the French decided to attack us off the water back then, they're going to have to choose a smaller vessel, like that longboat that we have in the boat shed next door. The Spanish would have actually called that boat a chalupa. The French would have pronounced it as a chaloupe. And every ship of the day is kind of a boat similar to that one. Guys, this ball comes out of that gun at approximately 400 miles an hour. It is going to punch through that like it's made of cardboard. And if you're inside when that's taking place, you're having a horrible afternoon. Ball strikes below the waterline, your chaloupe starts to sink. Guess what most Europeans can't do in the 16th century? Swim. You survived that? Congratulations, good for you. Craig and I are proud of you. Because once you get close enough, we're putting these cannonballs away, now we're breaking out bags of grape shot. We've just turned our cannons into 20 rapid firing shotguns. Yeah, cannon was obsolete in 1565, she was. But she was more than adequate to defend this position. Here we go, folks. Let's bang out! Go!
Wow. This is cool right here. You've got a watchtower. Sentinels of the Spanish coast. It was an early warning system. The Spanish were well versed in the art of war. They built watchtowers all around St. Augustine in order to spot potential danger early enough to muster an effective defense. Here we go, climbing up the watchtower. Jen says it's too cold for her to go up. So, that's not a bad view from up here. I'll keep on going up. So I'm the one that's gonna take us up here, since I'm the brave one. Don't think they had fire extinguishers back then. So this is what it looked like at the top of a watchtower in St. Augustine. Ooh, I hit that handrail there. So yeah, this is what it would look like. You can kind of see the inlet straight ahead. Zoom in so you can see it. And that's what they would look for. Battleships coming up through that little inlet there. And you can just imagine the cannons firing out into the inlet. It's pretty cool. Ooh, it is breezy up here. And you can only imagine the original city of St. Augustine founded right here. Obviously, no longer in this exact spot. In fact, it's quite a ways down that way and is a much bigger tourist destination than I think they thought would ever become of St. Augustine. Okay, it's a little cold. I'm heading down now. So this is all about Juan Ponce de Leon and his arrival into the New World. It says right here, the year 1492. You're right. That's what it says. Christopher Columbus sailed on the great voyage of exploration to the New World. He presented his discoveries to the king and queen, who provided funds for a second fleet to take settlers to the new land. The second Columbus fleet sailed in 1493. On board were over 1,000 settlers and crewmen, including a 19-year-old Ponce de Leon. So he actually came over on the second fleet initially. His participation in the wars against the Moors helped him win a place on one of these ships. The fleet and settlers sailed to the island of Hispaniola, which is now Haiti and the Dominican Republic. There they landed and started the settlement of Isabela, establishing a permanent Spanish presence in the New World. Little did you know, he was a part of Christopher Columbus's crew.
But when did he come here?
He come here later, and that's on that placard over there. It's interesting, they talk about the Indian slaves on Hispaniola dying off, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos. But right here, it talks about when the weather cleared on April 2nd, Juan Ponce de Leon's fleet approached the shore. After taking the noon observation of the sun near present-day St. Augustine, the fleet began looking for a good anchorage. They anchored off the shore that evening in 48 feet of water and went ashore the next morning to claim the land for Spain. Juan Ponce de Leon named the new land La Florida.
I think it should always be called La Florida. I love that.
They called it La Florida because of its lushness and its discovery during the time of Easter, which was right around April 3rd in 1513.
We are quite lush around Easter. Yeah.
There is the man himself, Juan Ponce de Leon. Well, a statue of him. And it says, born in Spain, 1460, governor of San Juan, which is now Puerto Rico. He made the first recorded sea voyage to what is now the United States of North America, making his first landing in the vicinity of St. Augustine, the first permanent European settlement in the USA. Check out this cool British anchor from the 1770s. It says that it was purchased by Walter Fraser and placed here in 1933. The ship's name and site of the anchor's recovery are unknown, but the British Royal Navy used this size and type of anchor on their famous 74 gunships of the line. First designed by the French and then copied by the British, the 74s were the perfect blend of firepower, maneuverability, and seaworthiness. And as you exit, there's a statue of Pedro Menendez de Aviles. St. Augustine, Florida was founded on this site by Pedro Menendez de Aviles. With him were 500 soldiers, 200 sailors, and 100 colonists. These colonists included stonecutters, carpenters, farriers, blacksmiths, clerics, surgeons, and a master brewer.
Of beer?
Of beer. You are now standing in the first settlement of our nation's oldest city. Thanks, Pedro. Thanks for colonizing North America. La Florida. So that's gonna do it for us here in St. Augustine, Florida. Did you guys learn some new things about Florida that you didn't know?
My brain grew.
Your brain grew, but you got younger.
I was gonna say, but her age.
Your age dropped.
Her youthfulness.
But you got smarter and younger.
Right.
Yes. It was a fun day.
It was.
We were not actually expecting to come here. We were gonna check out some other things across St. Augustine, but this is a great second option.
It was surprisingly fun.
And the admission was very affordable.
Yeah.
Very
$18.
affordable. $18, and there was a lot to do here.
Yep,
so.
a full day.
Yeah, it really was.
Yep.
So if you liked the video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't yet, Jen, tell them what to do.
Make sure to tap that subscribe button and tap that notification bell to become a super subscriber.
And until next time,
see you
from St. Augustine. See you real soon.